thanks to everybody for attending this event. Also, thanks for recognizing what a community achievement this is. It represents the citizens of Greeley-Evans. It represents all the school enthusiasts in the communities. It represents our employees who worked really hard to get something in front of the public, a chance to support a bond issue that would match, contribute to some money to produce a thing behind me. And we are so thrilled that all these things worked with military precision. And I also want to thank you all for bringing a nice sunny day for this adventure. Thanks to the staff, again, who worked so hard to make this event possible, this day, this building. And especially want to recognize Chief Operations Officer Wayne Eads. And let me just ask him to come to the podium right now. Wayne.
Well, thank you all for coming. Great fun to be here. Building a school is the strongest possible statement a community can make about its belief in itself and its future. But it's rewarding to be here. Building a new school is one of the most fun things you can do in the whole world. I hope you enjoy the tour. We'll have knowledgeable staff placed around the building to talk about the features of the building and answer any of your questions. I'll just mention that we're very close. It'll take a little bit longer, but I think we'll get our LEED Gold certification, which means this building has been built to responsible environmentally and education, or environmental and energy consumption standards. We're going to be intentionally brief. I've got the longest speech because we want to give you the most time possible to get out there and look at the building. The intent of this event today is really to mark substantial completion of the building itself. I want to mention we'll have a much larger open house for the entire community once the school is under operation. And I've been asked to give a quick overview of how we got here in about 3 minutes or less, so I'm going to do that. Hold on. In 2009, the state of Colorado commissioned a study of the condition of schools across the state. Each school received a facility condition index and an educational adequacy rating. When we saw those results, we realized that John Evans Middle School should be replaced. The state also created the Building Excellent Schools Today program, known as the BEST Grant Program, and together these two events provided an opportunity for us to apply for a BEST grant to replace John Evans Middle School. We submitted the application to the BEST board and were approved, but only if the taxpayers would raise a portion of the funds so the project could go forward. I'm thankful to the voters of Weld County School District 6 for passing that bond issue and raising the $8 million required for our matching part, and to the BEST board as they agreed to provide $21 million to complete this project and to tear down the old school. At 3-to-1, that's a pretty good return on investment for our taxpayers. So we started by recruiting a design advisory group of about 40 interested citizens, including the principals and some teachers from John Evans. We put them on school buses and went down to look at some recently constructed middle schools. Then we sat down with them to lay out the site and to plan the building itself. If you were on that committee, please raise your hand. Thank you very much for your service. Appreciate that. So that's how we got here, and my job is to recognize those that were directly involved in the construction. I'm going to do that, and I'll end my remarks at the beginning. You'll see what I mean. But I want to start by thanking the BEST board for their approval of our project and the BEST staff for their help. Today we have board member Lyndon Burnett. Where you at, Lyndon? Thank you. And to save time, I'm going to ask that we withhold our applause till the end because I have a few folks to mention. The director of the Division of Capital Construction Assistance, Scott Newell, is also here. Scott. And our regional representative, senior consultant, Jay Hoskinson, is here. Thank you, gentlemen. I want to thank the staff from the City of Evans for all their help and cooperation. It is a complicated thing to hook a school up to a city, I can tell you that. Our Fred Starr and Zach here today, some of our partners from Evans. I don't see them. We did invite the mayor to speak. However, he was unable to attend. There they are. Hi, gentlemen. So thanks for coming from Evans. From our construction team, I see architectural team members from SlaterPaull in Denver, and from RB+B in Fort Collins, Adele Wilson, Rebecca Spears, Derek Young, Reagan Ferrara, Jason Coates. Where are you all at? Raise your hand. Thank you very much. They've given us a beautiful design. Our general contractor is FCI from Longmont, And Rob Price, Steve Conklin, Travis Williams, Justin Sprouse, Hayden Seidling, and Steve Walker are here. Gentlemen, where are you at? Thanks again. FCI has been so diligent and so conscientious in this work that I know this building will stand and serve the community for 100 years. Our owner's representative from RLH in Windsor, Jeff Kirtley, Dick Hua. Thanks, gentlemen. They were critical in making sure we stayed on schedule and on budget. And finally, the man who was the project manager for the district on this job, he put himself and his staff on the line every day to make sure things were going smoothly. The Director of Support, Executive Director for Support Services for the district, Brad Johnson. Where you at, Brad? Thanks. Any members of your team here? Oh, yeah. Raise your hand, guys. They were out here every day making sure they understood the building and could operate it once it was turned over to us. So I said I would end my remarks at the beginning. So finally, I want to thank the voters again for approving the bond and thank the Bond Election Committee. Before a single shovel of dirt was turned, we had to raise the $8 million. And we had to have a bond election to do that. The selfless individuals in the bond election community gave their time to hang doorknob hangers, to raise money for signs, and many other things. If you're on that committee, please raise your hand. If you're here, thank you very much. I see a lot of you. And finally, I want to introduce, before I take my place on the tour, the man who stepped forward to be the chairman of the Bond Election Committee. Without his work, we wouldn't be here today. A former vice president of the Board of Education and the chairman of the Bond Election Committee, Mr. Jesse Quinby.
Thank you, Wayne, and greetings to all of you. Actually, I'm a co-chair, and a co-chair with Dr. Bruce Badarius, who would be the person here delivering this message this morning, but he couldn't make it. He's out of state, Minnesota exactly. His family reunion happens this time of year. So you get me instead of him. I can guarantee you, I will be briefer. I don't know nearly as many words as the good doctor. So on behalf of the Bond Committee, I want to give our full thanks to everyone who gave their time and financial support and have made this campaign a success. That's to include the 22 members of the Bond Committee. It's also to include the 200 financial contributors from this committee, or community, that contributed over $20,000 to make this campaign a success. I also want to thank the scores of volunteers who posted signs and went door to door to get our message out, and then went door to door to get the vote out. I want to thank the Greeley and Evans communities who voted for this bond. For as your schools go, so goes your communities. And I want to give a special thanks to Principal Dawn Hillman and her staff of teachers and classified personnel at the John Evans, who went the extra mile to make this a success. Let's give all of them a round of applause and a thank you. That page is done. Don't worry about it. Okay, hey, this is a great day with a lot of clapping, and I'd like for you to continue that clapping and give a warm welcome to the Superintendent of Greeley-Evans School District 6, and welcome Dr. Deirdre Pilch. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess. It's my honor to be here as your superintendent of schools, and I can't take any credit for this glorious day. But I am privileged to be a part of it, and I recognize what a significant contribution a new school like this is to the communities of both Evans and Greeley. And I want to echo the thank yous that you've heard from the previous presenters. I also want to recognize Mr. Wayne Eads, who served as interim superintendent this past year and as chief operating officer. So he is the one here who was doing 2 jobs last year to get us to this point to open the building today. So Wayne. Thank you, Wayne. And I also want to recognize Dr. Ranelle Lang, the former superintendent who actually was superintendent at the time of the BEST grant and the inception of this possibility and the passage of the bond issue. And she'll address us here in just a few moments. But Dr. Lang, thanks for being here today. Well, we don't do any of this great work without community volunteers who are willing to serve as Board of Education members. And I'd like to recognize the 2012 Board of Education who actually approved the bond and approved the inception of this building and then worked to get us over the next several years to prepare for the opening of the building. At that time, Mr. Doug Lidiak was president of the Board of Education. Doug. Dr. Julia Richard was our vice president. Mr. Logan Richardson. Dr. Pelleri Mann. I know you're here, Pelleri. I saw you. There you are. Thank you. Mrs. Judy Crone. It's way in the back there. Mr. Scott Rankin. And Miss Linda Trimberger. Thank you, Linda. I'm also pleased to recognize and introduce our 2015 Board of Education, the board who is our 7-member volunteer board who serves the District 6 here in Greeley and Evans. President Roger DeWitt, Vice President Logan Richardson, our past president Doug Lidiak, Dr. Julia Richard, Mr. Steve Hall, Miss Rhonda Solis, and Mr. John Haefley. We're fortunate in District 6 to have so many community members who are willing to partner with us, not only on amazing projects like this project, but projects throughout the school district. And we couldn't do the work we do without the significant commitment that Greeley and Evans community members have given to the school district. And I will tell you, I've just been on the ground since July 1 officially, but have been spending several days in and out of the district for the last few months. And I could not have received a more welcome reception and a more eager community to serve and work with and partner with a school district. And I thank all of you for that. Thank you very much. It's now my honor to introduce Dr. Ranelle Lang, former superintendent of Greeley-Evans District 6.
So it is my pleasure and my honor to be here today. Stephen Covey says all things are created twice. There's a mental or a first creation and a physical or second creation to all things. I was privileged to lead the first creation of this building, and it is thrilling to me to witness the second creation. Many, many people, as you have heard, have worked hard to make this vision a reality for the students in our district, because even before the building existed, people could see the faces of the kids as they walked off the bus into the building. And they looked around this building and they saw light, and they saw security and safety, and they saw space, and they saw no asbestos. And all of you could see that on behalf of the students. And I would like to recognize, we have a group of John Evans students here, or like John Evans, now Prairie Heights students. That would be you all, right? So would you like to stand up? I see some of their teachers in the back too. It's good to see you all. So that's why. That's the why of our work, and this is created for our students, a beautiful learning place. And so here today we are dedicating this. It symbolizes all of our hopes and dreams, all of the love we have for every single child in our communities. So we're delighted that you students are here to see this. You get an early look at it. And I want to express my deepest gratitude to the communities of Greeley and Evans, first of all for for this wonderful building, but for mostly supporting the students in our communities and making this vision a reality. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So now the moment you've all been waiting for, which is the official ribbon cutting for Prairie Heights Middle School and the official opening of our new school, which is indeed for the students. So we would like to invite you to come closer and join us. We will officially cut the ribbon at the door, and then we'd invite you to join us for lunch in the cafeteria and tours of the building. Feel free to start with lunch or feel free to start with a tour of the building. We'll kind of break it up so we can get everybody through the lunch line. And again, thank you so much to all of you and to Teresa Myers, our communications director, for coordinating all of us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.